Coming up today, concern over the health of China's economy and the possibility of a rate hike in the United States sends Korea's financial markets into a tailspin. The secondary tech-heavy bourse takes the brunt of it, tumbling over 4%. Divers begin work to salvage the sunken Sewol-ho ferry from waters off Korea's southwestern coast. Work to bring the vessel to the surface will begin early next year. Plus, a sketch of the Bangkok bombing suspect has been released by Thai police. They are offering a $28,000 award for help leading to the man's arrest. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello and welcome. It's 6 a.m. on Thursday, August 20th here in Seoul. I'm Mark Broome and you're tuned in to our early morning edition of Arirang News. Our top story this morning, Korea's main stock market slumped to a 6-month low on Wednesday over concerns about the health of the Chinese economy and the possibility of an imminent rate hike in the US. Korea's secondary stock market, the tech-heavy KOSDAQ, was battered even more, tumbling over 4%, extending its losses for a second consecutive day. To make matters worse, market analysts say they expect the volatility to continue for some time to come. Connie Kim reports.
Korea's benchmark Kospi dropped 0.86% on Wednesday to close at 1,939.38. It's the first time in 6 months the index fell below the 1,950 mark. The secondary stock trading board KOSDAQ dropped more than 4%, closing at 670.55. The sharp decline comes as investment sentiment was dampened due to uncertainties over a possible rate hike in the U.S. and the slowing Chinese economy that prompted the government to devalue its currency. Experts forecast volatility will rattle the stock market for the time being, especially with the recent devaluation of the Chinese yuan.
With the Chinese economy losing steam, the premium for Chinese stocks is low and a vicious cycle created by an investor sell-off is continuing. It's important for the Chinese economy to recover trust.
Volatile trading sessions continued in China and spread to other Asian markets on Wednesday. The benchmark Shanghai Composite Index closed up 1.2% after it slipped more than 5% in the morning session. This follows a drop of more than 6% the previous day. Japan's Nikkei dropped more than 1.5%, and Taiwan's TAIEX plunged nearly 2% on Wednesday. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
Lotte Group is preparing to release initial public offerings for most of its affiliates and its hotel operator Lotte Hotel. This move is part of the business group's efforts to make its governance structure more transparent. Kim Jeon reports.
Korean retail giant Lotte Group is pushing for the listing of its affiliates to help simplify its corporate governance structure as part of a reform plan proposed by Chairman Shin Dong-bin. Initial public offering is expected to be released for affiliates with assets between $253 million and $422.4 million US. More than 90% of all Lotte's non-listed affiliates fall within that range. This includes the group's convenience store chain 7-Eleven and fast food chain Lotteria. The group's also expected to set a mandate to hire outside directors to root out arbitrary business management when releasing the IPOs. Lotte will send out proposals to around 10 local and overseas brokerages, and candidates will be confirmed by August 31st. The final list is expected to be revealed in early September. Lotte, the country's 5th largest conglomerate, is expected to form a task force comprised of independent parties to carry out the plans. The move comes amid the group's push for the listing of its hotel operator Lotte Hotel. Chairman Shin vowed to relieve the group's web of 416 cross-shareholdings by nearly 80% by the end of the year, after Lotte came under fire for 2 of the founder's sons fighting over who takes over the group. Kim Jeon, Arirang News.
An underwater inspection, the first stage of salvaging the sunken Sewol-ho ferry, began on Wednesday off Korea's southwestern coast. The Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries says divers from Shanghai Salvage, the state-run Chinese consortium that was hired by the Korean government for the job, began their operations from around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. The inspection comes exactly 490 days after the tragic sinking of the ferry, which claimed more than 300 lives, most of them high school students. The government hopes to raise the sunken ferry by next July. But it may take longer than scheduled, as the project will be halted from November to March due to the cold weather. Police in Thailand have released a detailed sketch and a warrant for the man they believe planted a bomb on a crowded street in central Bangkok earlier this week. Police say they do not know if the suspect is still in Thailand or what nationality he is. The drawing shows the person to be a fair-skinned person with black hair and a wispy beard and black glasses. A $28,000 reward has been offered to anyone who can provide information leading to his arrest. Now, authorities think the perpetrator may have been part of a network of Thai nationals. Thailand's Prime Minister has appealed for the suspect to turn himself in to authorities. 20 people were killed in Monday's explosion at a busy shrine in the heart of Bangkok. Thai authorities still haven't identified all of those killed, many of whom were from other countries. The Chinese government is stepping up its investigation into those responsible for last week's deadly explosion of a chemical warehouse in Tianjin that killed at least 114 people. Chinese state media outlets reported Wednesday that the warehouse company, Ruihai International Logistics, operated for months without a proper license to deal with dangerous chemicals. The country's national director of the State Administration of Work Safety, Yang Dong-liang, has been removed from his position and is currently under state investigation. 10 directors and managers of the company are also being questioned under house arrest. Now, South Korea says it has detected unusual artillery movements on the northern side of the inter-Korean border. There's concern North Korea could be readying to fire on South Korean military's propaganda loudspeakers along the border. Kim Hyun-bin has the details.
Seoul's defense ministry said Wednesday that it spotted extra activity at the North's heavy artillery units on the border, near the location of South Korea's loudspeakers. Some experts say the communist regime is preparing to fire at the speakers. The ministry says it's keeping a close eye on the recent artillery movements to determine if the recent exercises are aimed at targeting the speakers. Psychological warfare is being conducted on both sides of the border, using loudspeakers to broadcast propaganda. Pyongyang's mine detonation on the southern side of the military demarcation line that severely injured 2 South Korean soldiers earlier this month resulted in the South resuming after 11 years its use of loudspeakers to broadcast propaganda over the border. North Korea has demanded that the South tear down its loudspeakers or risk indiscriminate attacks as a consequence. Both the U.S. State Department and the Pentagon on Tuesday local time slammed North Korea for the explosions, calling the incident a violation of the armistice agreement. The U.S. says it's keeping a close eye on any sort of unusual movements and warned North Korea that any further provocations will further it from the international community. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News.
Staying with inter-Korean relations, and South Korea has strongly criticized North Korea for attempting to link Seoul and Washington's annual joint military drills to the resumption of separated family reunions. Seoul's unification ministry said the North's attempts to connect the two issues was improper and overstretched. Hwang Sang-yi reports.
South Korea slammed North Korea on Wednesday for linking the reunions for war-separated families and the ongoing military drills between Seoul and Washington.
The military exercises are defensive, annual and regular. The issue of family reunions is a humanitarian matter that must be resolved immediately. It is improper and overstretched to link the two issues.
In her Liberation Day speech, President Park Geun-hye said South Korea will send the North a list of about 60,000 families waiting to reunite with their relatives in North Korea. Millions of family members were separated from their loved ones during the Korean War in the 1950s.
이산가족 문제만큼은 아무리 정세가 어렵고 이념이 대립한다고 해도 인도적 견지에서 남북이 근본적인 해결 방안을 찾아야 합니다.
But in its state-run 노동신문 newspaper on Wednesday, North Korea criticized President Park for contradicting herself by mentioning the reunions when she laid the toll bar on inter-Korean cooperation. Just a day earlier, Pyongyang claimed the separated families will naturally meet once the joint military drills are suspended. The annual Ulji Freedom Guardian exercises between Seoul and Washington that began this week will run through August 28th. While South Korea previously planned to hold the reunions in time for the Korean Chuseok holiday next month, the Unification Ministry said there is no set timeline since resuming the event is of the utmost importance. Hwang Sang-hee, Arirang News.
South Korea's ambassador to Japan is urging the leaders of Korea and Japan to meet for talks regardless of public sentiment in their respective countries. Speaking to reporters in Tokyo on Wednesday, Yoo Heung-soo said a summit must take place since Korean sentiment about Japan will improve if the leaders are seen together in an agreeable mood. President Park Geun-hye and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe have not yet held a summit as relations remain icy over Abe's position on Japan's imperialistic past, referring to recent cooperation between the two neighbours in areas such as security and the economy. The ambassador expressed hopes the momentum will lead to a summit before the year is out. Japan plans to ask the World Trade Organization to intervene and settle the issue regarding Seoul's import ban on Japanese fish products. According to sources, Japan has decided to request the trade organization to establish a dispute settlement panel to put an end to the matter as the two countries fail to narrow their differences. The Korean government maintains that Seoul's restrictive measures on Japanese fisheries products are legitimate steps to ensure the safety of the people, while Tokyo claims they have no scientific justification. Seoul issued the ban on all fisheries products from Fukushima and 7 surrounding prefectures in September 2013, amid fears over their safety in the wake of the nuclear accident in 2011. The U.S. Congressional Research Service says the South KoreaUS Civilian Nuclear Cooperation Agreement has met all requirements under U.S. law. In a report published Wednesday, the CRS said the agreement can enter into force after a 30-day consultation period and a review period of 60 days of continuous sessions unless U.S. Congress enacts a joint resolution of disapproval, which is not at all likely to happen. The agreement, signed in June, came after more than 4 years of negotiations. Talks had centred on reconciling Seoul's demand for the right to reprocess spent nuclear fuel and enrich uranium with Washington's concerns about proliferation. Now, South Korea is still not permitted to reprocess or enrich uranium, but it will allow Seoul to start research into a new technology for spent nuclear fuel recycling. This is a process known as pyroprocessing. Seoul will also be allowed to make low-level enriched uranium with Washington's prior consent. The US Federal Reserve says it has not yet settled on a decision about when to raise rates. Minutes of the Fed's July meeting, released on Wednesday local time, showed officials wanted to see more evidence the US economy was in good health before they start hiking interest rates from near zero. While most were happy with the state of the labour market in the US, they remained concerned about the persistent sluggishness of inflation. A separate government report released on the same day showed consumer prices only edged up 0.2% over the 12 months ending in July, and that is far below the 2% annual pace the Fed wants to see and considers to be healthy. The Fed has kept rates near zero since the height of the 2008 global financial crisis. There has been speculation the US Central Bank would raise rates in September, or at least by the end of the year. The IT Convergence Expo Korea 2015 has officially kicked off in the southern city of Daegu. The annual event showcases the latest products in hardware and software technologies. Hwon Ji-yeon has this report.
If you dance along to the screen while holding your smartphone, this mobile game will give you a score based on the accuracy of your performance. It will even tell you how many calories you burned while dancing. And using this smartphone app, you can remote control your gas valves at home, regardless of where you are.
All you have to do is download our application and register your home appliances under our system. It's a simple process, which also makes our service more affordable.
These are some of the cool gadgets and developments you can check out at this year's IT Convergence Expo Korea, which began on Wednesday at the Expo Convention Hall in Daegu. The annual trade show gathers vendors from all over the world to showcase a wide range of IT products and services, such as IoT, 3D printers, and drones. And to highlight the growing popularity of drones or unmanned aerial vehicles, this year's event has a special exhibition hall where visitors can check out the newest models.
I got to check out a number of different drones, from manual to automatic ones. It was nice to be able to compare the pros and cons of all the drones from different price ranges.
The Expo also offers ICT seminars with industry experts, as well as business opportunities with buyers from 9 countries, including China, Vietnam, and the US. The 3-day event will close on August 21st. Won Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
Well, that's all we have for now. I'm Mark Broome. Have a great day, and thank you, as always, for watching. We do hope to see you at the same time tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.